Welcome everyone. My name is Victoria Pavlova and I will be the facilitator of this session today. We are recording this session, so in case anyone doesn't agree with being recorded, please indicate so in the chat and I will post the recording during your presentation. Now we will continue with the experts' introductions, and I would like to invite Mari from European Circular Bioeconomy Fund to introduce first.
So, hey, thank you, Victoria, for the intro. I guess because my last name starts with an A, I'm always first. So, hi, my name is Marie. I'm a principal at the European Circular Bioeconomy Fund, and my background is in chemistry. So I started off my career with a PhD in chemistry, so nanochemistry, biophysics, MBA, went into venture capital directly after that. I used to work for an early stage seed investment company where I did investments with a specialization in the chemistry space as well as life sciences. And now, as of January, I'm at the ECBF, since European Circular Bioeconomy Fund is such a mouthful to say. Maybe two sentences on the fund. So we're a sustainability fund. We aim to be 250 million euros large. We're about 200 right now. We've already done 4 different investments in the sustainability tech space, and we invest typically from Series B onwards in different tech areas ranging from ag tech, food tech, industrial biotech, constructions, bio-based materials, personal care specialties, and packaging. And I'm really excited to hear all the pitches today.
Thank you very much for your introduction. Next, I would like to invite Renato from Caimeo Finance.
Hello, everyone. My name is Renato. I have a background in business and finance. I spent the last 6 years building kind of large global climate startup initiatives, so accelerated programs, innovation competitions, and also investment initiatives. And I'm now with Caimeo Finance, which is basically focusing on smart asset financing and working capital solution based in Switzerland.
Thank you very much for your introduction. Next, I would like to invite Katarzyna from ICOS Capital.
Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for the introduction. I am working for ICOS as analyst, and my background is in pharmacy and made my PhD in life environmental sciences. And maybe just quick talk about ICOS. We are Dutch-based VC company, and we are investing in area of the digital industry and sustainability, and the main fields in which we have interest are agri-tech, food tech, biochemicals, alternative proteins, renewable energy, and we are mainly investing in the companies from Serie A, Serie B, based in Europe and in Israel. So thank you very much to being here, and good luck for all pitching session.
Thank you for your introduction. Now I would like to invite Yvette from Capricorn Partners to introduce.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Indeed, I'm Yvette Go. I represent Capricorn Partners, which is an asset management company based out of Leuven, Belgium. It's been existing 29 years, has 600 million assets under management, listed and non-listed. There are 3 active venture capital funds. One is a sustainable chemistry fund, and I'm a key manager for that fund. The fund itself is 86 million euros, investing in about 12 companies. 13 companies is the target. We are 3 of us as key managers, 2 as associates added, and we have one specific feature that, in addition to the financial expertise, we also bring the actually sector expertise or the technology expertise. I'm a chemical engineer from Delft University, spent 10 years at Shell and DSM in the industry, and the last 14 years investment, direct investments at Set Ventures, fund of fund investments, where I was head of social and environmental impact at the European Investment Fund, and since 2 years back in direct investments, because I really like working with entrepreneurs much more. So very happy to look forward to seeing all the pitches, and good luck again also from my side to the companies pitching.
Thank you, Vic. Next, I would like to invite Wolfgang from Evonik Venture Capital.
Hi, good morning all. My name is Wolfgang from Evonik Venture Capital. Thanks for the brief introduction. I'm an investment manager. I'm also key account for the French region, as well as from the content perspective, everything which is clustered around sustainability, including AgTech. And we, as a specialty chemicals company, we invest in sectors which are adjacent to our businesses. By profession, I'm both a banker and a lawyer. I'm looking forward to the pitches. Best of luck. Fingers crossed.
Thank you for your introduction. Now I would like to invite René from Business Angels Connect.
Good morning. I'm founder of Business Angels Connect. My background is I'm studied biology and geography and followed an MBA program, more than 30 years experience in the business angels market. Our network, Business Angels Connect, is specialized in chemistry companies, health and agri-food. We are aligned to the Dutch chemistry top sector and agri-food sector. And we are also partnering for the Benelux lead for the EIT Investor Network. So our team is specialized in selecting and bringing introductions to private investor and deal closing. And I'm happy to join this session. Thank you.
Thank you for your introduction. Now I would like to invite Florian from ZAS Ventures.
I am Florian. Nice to meet you. Despite the name, we are not a VC. We actually help with European funding. Ambitious and generous programs like the EIC Accelerator. We've raised over 400 million over the last few years for our clients. We're very interested in companies in the sustainability space and have secured a lot of funding, especially from the EIC Accelerator for food and agri-tech companies. And we are especially interested in those that address the big systemic issues. Nice to meet you all.
Thank you for your introduction, Florian. I would like to invite Maya from Peak Bridge Partners.
Hello, nice to meet you all. So my name is Maya Shushan-Rogan. I'm CTO of Peakbridge, a food tech fund. And my background is a PhD in computational biology and biochemistry. And I've been working in agri-food tech, including investment for 10 years now. I also manage a joint fund of a company named Trendlines in Bayer Crop Science, focusing on ag tech. Peakbridge is a food tech fund, fully committed to food tech. We have a growth fund and a seed fund. It's a global fund. In the seed stage, we invest in Israel and in Europe. And in the growth stage, we invest also in the US. Again, we're only food people. We bring broad expertise in the area. And I'm looking forward to hear more about the pitches.
Thank you, Maya. Now I would like to invite Oliver from FoodTech.
Hello, I'm Oliver Stahl. I'm a serial entrepreneur from Switzerland, but I'm living in the small country Liechtenstein. I'm happy to join this Invest Horizon. As a business angel, I'm investing in food startups, especially in the DACH region, but also in the rest of Europe. My ticket size is between 30 and 80K.
Thank you, Oliver, and thank you to all of the experts who joined us today. Before we continue with the presenting companies, I would like to kindly remind you of the format of the session. Each company has 5 minutes to pitch, 4 minutes for Q&A, and 1 minute to be evaluated by the experts and investors in this room. I will share the link to the evaluation form in 1 minute. And now I would like to invite our first company. This is Marcel from New Motion Labs.
Good morning, everyone. So I'm just going to share my screen.
Sure.
And then I'll get us started. So, great. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, the floor is yours.
So, hi, my name's Marcel, and I'm CEO of New Motion Labs. And what we do is we develop deep tech drivetrain technology. When you think of drivetrains, the most ubiquitous that you see is a roller chain. So you see that on bikes, but it's also in many other different applications. So the chain drive industry, now there's over 4 billion chain drives in use today worldwide in over 5,000 different applications, from food manufacturing, conveying, to agriculture. Every combine harvester and every baler has many different sprockets and chains, to every combustion engine, and within escalators and elevators. So what we've done at New Motion Labs is we've developed Enduro. And Enduro is the next generation chain drive that minimizes friction for better performance and longer life. In essence, what we've done is we have a conventional roller chain drive, and instead of transferring power on one side of the tooth, we hug the tooth. And by hugging that tooth, you don't get any relative movement. And with no relative movement, you decrease friction, therefore decreasing wear and increasing lifetime and efficiency substantially. So just by changing this one sprocket, you can have a revolutionary increase in durability and lifetime. So we can see a 99% chain drive efficiency, an up to 7x decrease in wear rate, a 30% increase in drive lifetime, and it's a lower manufacturing cost because it's less complicated to mill out. So why New Motion Labs? We're world leaders, so we developed this technology. We've validated this at the University of Stuttgart and the University of Bath. We have worldwide patent coverage, and we have world-class team made of mechanical engineers and an ex-head of sales from an industrial chain manufacturer. So as we all know, today there's a new demand for sustainable technologies. In EVs, so that's moving into agriculture as well. They need smaller, lighter, and more efficient drivetrains. In advanced manufacturing, we all know that every time you have downtime, you're losing thousands of pounds of lost revenue. And that's where we step in. So like I said, the average food manufacturing loss is $260,000 per hour. And we estimate with a 20% increase in uptime, we can save that average factory over $3.9 million per year. So we are operating a licensing business model, and we see an opportunity of 175 billion in the global gears and industrial automation market. And we've identified 11.75 billion as our initial target opportunity. So our GTM strategy, at the moment, we're in track cycling and cargo e-bikes because they're very high profile and high growth areas. So 50% year-on-year growth, but we're going to move into industrial food and drink manufacturing and agriculture in 2022, 2023. Our business model is IP licensing because it's scalable and very high growth. So we license to an industrial drive manufacturer like Reynolds, Subaki, and then they will manufacture for the OEMs. Traction-wise, we already have 2 signed license agreements with manufacturers. We have 2 commercial pilots worth 700K when converted to contract, and we've raised over $1 million in investment grants. And traction, and we also have MOU and pilots with Urban Arrow, one of the largest cargo bike manufacturers in the world, and an MOU and pilot with a leading chain manufacturer, Ewis. So our competitors are also our future partners. So Subaki Moto, which is one of the largest industrial chain manufacturers, also in agriculture, they will become our future partners because of our licensing business model. And the other competitors are very much niche cycling drivetrain brands. In terms of revenue forecast, our early revenue will be mainly from the cycling market and cargo e-bike, because that's a very big and expanding market before we move into industrial, food manufacturing and agriculture, where downtime is a significant problem. So team-wise, there's myself. I'm a mechanical engineer and innovation consultant. We have Chris Palmer, who's an expert in manufacturing and leading our quality control, and Lucas Lobmeyer, who has worked in food manufacturing at Bosch. Our board, we have our board chair is Andrew Hall, who's a former Siemens exec, and Cynthia and Elizabeth, who have both exited startups at IPO. And we have the ex-head of legal at ARM, who's writing our IP licensing documents. So we are raising a 1 million EISC plus raise, and this is for licensing sales in Germany and Japan, quality assessment facility, and expansion into those durability focused applications like food and drink and agriculture applications. And our use of funds, mainly in engineering, for
Marcel, sorry to interrupt you, but you're over time.
Okay.
So I would like to proceed now with the questions from the experts, and I open the floor for questions. Dear experts, please unmute yourself and ask your question directly.
Why do you want to start in Germany and Japan?
Because that's where roller chain is used. That's where all of the manufacturers are that use chain.
I see that Marie also has a question.
Okay.
And you said you have 5 patents. Is it the design? Is it, to which components do you have the patents on?
So we've patented the actual tooth profile. So the ability to transfer power on both sides of the teeth. And that's a very fundamental patent. So it's about the design of this tooth profile.
Hi, can I ask a question now? Thank you for presentation, Marcel. Could you explain, you mentioned just now that Tsubakimoto would be a potential partner with you. Could you say a little bit more where you are in the stages of your sort of agreements? You said an MOU, but can you say a little bit where you are on the path to commercialization?
Yeah, so what we're doing, they're kind of evaluating our technology currently, EWIS down in Germany. And then we would go into a license. So they've signed an MOU. We'll go into a licensing agreement starting January, licensing agreement negotiations.
Okay, so you're at the stage of them sort of validating whether they see the kind of efficiencies that you see.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
And we have a question from René. René, maybe.
Yeah, sorry. Interesting. Could you tell us more about how those pilots go? What are the results?
Yeah, so the results are that we're moving into kind of different stages. So for example, for track cycling, we've already had our initial pilots, and now we're moving into production. For cargo e-bike, we've had our initial pilots, and now we're going to test over the 3 months in London, Amsterdam, and Berlin. For industrial applications, they're currently being tested at the manufacturers. So moving forward on lots of fronts.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We have time for a very quick question if anyone else would like to ask.
Marcel, if I may, how about your exit? When do you envisage and target to exit?
So we are targeting an exit in 24 and 25. This will either be a sale to an industrial chain manufacturer, or maybe an automotive parts manufacturer looking to diversify into other applications.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Marcel, for your participation. Just a kind reminder that we have one-to-one meetings, so you can all schedule one-to-one meetings via the TechTool platform and talk more about, yeah.
Thank you very much. I'll stop sharing and I'll...
Thank you. Now I would like to invite our next presenter. This is Joshua from Cropscart.
For decades, Israel has been one of the leading centers of innovation in the world. And the technology that's born here is making the lives of millions of people around the world better. Now, before we were the startup nation, we were an agricultural nation. So there's lots of great ag tech here. However, the vast majority of this technology is evolutionary, not revolutionary. At Cropscart, we dream big. And our goal is to make the entire world healthier and greener. So we started with the question: can technology replace the dangerous chemicals that are so ubiquitous in crop protection? Pests cause an estimated $70 billion a year to crops. And the solution for these Pests, chemical pesticides, present a whole host of other problems. A report last year stated that almost 400 million farm workers were poisoned inadvertently by these pesticides. And all of us are concerned about the effects of these chemicals on our bodies, our children, and our environment. But still, chemical control makes up about 98% of the treatment landscape. And the other 2% is biological control, where you use bugs to eat other bugs. You have a jungle. It's time for something radically different. Technological control, CropsGuard. We're ecological, we're economical, and we're healthy. CropsGuard is a hardware software solution that utilizes cutting-edge radio frequency to eliminate insects under 3 millimeters in size. It is entirely pesticide-free. It's been proven to be as effective, if not better, than chemical insecticides. It's cost-effective. It is the only full life cycle solution that eliminates eggs and nymphs, and if you can prevent the next generation, you change the threat that these insects pose. And finally, it's fully customizable to meet the needs of any controlled environment agricultural facility. Our device is currently certified in the United States. In the very near future, in the next week or so, hopefully we'll finish up our Canadian certification. And shortly thereafter, we'll focus on finishing up our European certification. You can see here's the device. So what does this do for growers? Well, instead of being reactive to pests, they can be preventative. So it gives them increased predictability. The average farm can lose anywhere between 10, 20%, or even more of their yield to insects. If we can save just a fraction of this, this is a game changer for growers. And as you replace the need or dramatically reduce the need for chemical insecticides, your material and your labor costs drop dramatically. And finally, as the world is moving away from these dangerous chemicals led by the EU, CropsGuard meets and far exceeds actually the regulatory requirements that are in place today and into the future. So what's the market look like? Well, today there's 500,000 hectares of greenhouses around the world. We're actually only interested at this point in the top 10%, the high-tech greenhouses. That's still 50,000 hectares. Our technology actually is now in use in other facilities as well, vertical farms, indoor facilities. And as you can see, these markets are rapidly expanding around the world. Every great technology needs a great team, and we're fortunate to have a leadership team that includes over a century of combined excellence. Our CEO, doctor in plant physiology, was the CEO of a NASDAQ-listed tech company and started his own ag investment fund. Our CSO, Professor Emeritus, Hebrew University's Faculty of Agriculture, has edited books on pest management. Our CTO comes from the Israeli defense industry and Cisco, and I'm good at telling stories. And I said, CropsGuard wants the entire world to be green and healthy, so we meet a number of UN sustainable goals. Where are we today? We've finished all of our commercial testing in Portugal, Australia, in Israel. We've signed now, we have 100 devices that land in the United States. We're starting a pilot in the very near future with a multi-billion-dollar US company and signed an agreement, evaluation agreement with a multi-billion-dollar Japanese company as soon as you can get into Japan again, and have a number of other countries waiting. We're also in talks with autonomous robotic companies in Europe. We have one patent, we're working on several others, and we're doing a very small fundraising round to really fund these pilots as we need to, and we'll reassess our evaluation after our American pilots. That's why CropsGuard. Proven success in commercial facilities around the world. Built for years of use in these agricultural environments, our device is IP65, is the only technology of its kind in the world today. And as these rapidly growing markets around the world continue to expand, it's the safest and most effective solution. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Joshua. Now I open the floor for questions, and I see that Wolfgang already has one.
Thanks, Joshua, for this nice presentation. I have a question regarding one of your pictures you've shown. On 1 square meter, there seem to be at least 10 devices or so. So the question for me is, how economically viable are you compared to pesticides business?
Excellent. So that was in a vertical farm here in Israel, where they set up basically a disinfectant area, right? we've estimated, and depends on the facility, each need, you probably need somewhere between 40 to 50 devices per hectare. For that vertical farm, they brought in new things and wanted to disinfect it there. So it was a opportunity for that particular need. And we put that in there to show we can meet the needs of every facility. Now, higher levels of pest infestation require more devices used in different ways, but we can meet the needs as they come up.
Thank you. You have also a question from Mary.
Hi, can you share more details?
There
Sorry.
we go. I could unmute myself. This kind of stuff excites me because we look a lot about AgTech. I actually have two questions. One question is really about the field studies. So I assume you've done different field studies, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. What kind of insects do you concentrate on? I mean, I assume there's a huge range from aphids all the way to caterpillars, whiteflies, mites.
Anything under 3 millimeters in size. That's a great question. And as we talk to farmers really on 5 continents, a lot of the problems are the same. Now, we're focused on controlled environment agriculture at this point. And so the most common pests there, 98% of the problems are the things that you mentioned, thrips, whiteflies, aphids, root aphids, fungus gnats, mites, red mites, 2-spotted mites, and we've seen them. And we've shown that anything under 3 millimeters in size, including their eggs, we very effectively eliminate.
And you benchmarked against chemical controls and biological controls?
In commercial facilities. Now, we're not the end-all be-all. We are part of an IPM, and we can innovate there. And the thing that we have that no one else has, we have a button. We can turn it on or off.
And what percent efficacy compared to chemical controls?
We've seen 95+% efficacy, absolutely. And especially in early stages. In the nursery, we've seen that we can effectively replace the needs for other pest controls. I'm very excited about that.
Thank you. I would like now to give the word to Maya, and after that I will give it to Florian because they both have questions.
All right, thanks, Ken. Great presentation.
Thanks, Maya.
And can you share some more details about the underlying technology, if you feel comfortable? And the second question is regarding the business model and go-to-market.
Absolutely.
More elaborate. Yeah.
So we're actually a software company. The technology we use is just a step up of what you can readily available in countries around the world. The secret sauce, if you will, what we do is in our software that is able to modulate this radio frequency to turn into an effective tool. That's really what we do. In terms of our go-to-market strategy, we're starting with these pilot programs in very strategic markets. 30 days, try it. We know it works. You'll see it works. And we'll go from there with strategic partners. So ultimately, it's an integration model. Our business model is based on lease, a monthly lease, probably $99 per month per device before discounts. Our manufacturing costs are under $1,000 per device, and we'll be able to drop that down as we scale up. So it can be very lucrative.
Thank you.
Thank you. I give the word to Florian.
Hey, Joshua, super interesting. Could you actually explain how it works and why?
Sure. So what we've understood, and after 10 years of R&D, and really we're at the commercial phase now, but really understanding this first in the laboratory and going around, it causes a physical impact on these insects. It stops them from, it disorients them, it stops them from eating, it stops them from reproducing. And to really explain it in a very simple way, in a metaphor, if you will, you go to a concert, there's a very large speaker, and if you get too close, you kind of feel it in the pit of your stomach. Now, everyone here is very educated, much more than me, so it's not exactly the same mechanism, but in essence, it beats on these insects. And in time, after being disoriented, after stopping eating, they dry up. And they actually, in time, they actually break apart in pieces. And we have this on video in numerous facilities that we've tested, and we've seen this over and over again. It doesn't create heat, though. It is a physical impact, and it's safe. And according to the FCC, Communication Authority, where we're certified in the United States, you have to stand 20 centimeters from the device when it's on.
Thank you. We're out of time for questions. I see that Wolfgang also has one, but I would like to kindly remind you about the one-to-one meetings, and you can elaborate more there. Thank you very much, Joshua, for participating. And now I would like to invite our next presenter. This is Manix from Water Insight.
Thank you. Let me share my screen. Okay, so we're Water Insight, your digital inspection partner. Our mission is that we want to provide cost-effective and real-time water quality information services. The problem is that the quality of many surface waters is deteriorating, in part due to climate change. Timely information is often missing and problems are detected too late for prevention and mitigation actions. All standard water monitoring requires sampling and lab analysis, which is costly and time-consuming, or in-water measurements, which are costly because of fouling and they need maintenance. Lastly, many water surfaces are not monitored at all because of lack of resources. What is our solution? We measure water quality above the water that requires less maintenance. We combine high quality monitoring at specific locations with our instruments. We combine it with satellite monitoring to give you the big picture. Spatial information is often lacking completely in water quality management, and we provide real-time results. So no lab, less travel, less personnel, consistent results, and automatic measurements every 15 minutes with our devices. What is our value to the customer? We have high quality measurements that are validated by accredited laboratories. We have long-term data. There was one instrument that was enabled to be retrieved back from the field during the COVID situation in Italy, and it measured for straight 2 years in a row, which is quite remarkable for an instrument that is deployed in an aquatic environment. We offer low ownership costs, little maintenance, there we have sale and lease options, and we're also working on a circular model where at the end of the lifetime, the instrument is returned to us. What are the market opportunities and risks? We intend to capture 10% of what we identify as a scientific market for these kind of instruments. And we also intend to capture 5% of the water management market. We also identify aquaculture and water infrastructure like dredging as market segments, but these will come later in our roadmap. Our instruments and services will be part of the digital transformation of this market. And since water management market is conservative, in first instance, we focused on innovation leaders. So the friction between science and operations, and certify our services. We have 16 years of experience, mostly in R&D. We have generated already quite some revenue from selling instruments. We've done a lot of pilots already, and we also have a number of distributors in place. Our experience extends into a vast array of clients. We've done a lot of R&D projects for the European Union. We work for the national government. We also work for the water boards in the Netherlands. We supply instruments to, for instance, technological institutes at home and abroad. And we also did some work for supranational agencies. What is our competitive advantage? So in terms for the satellite services that we provide, we often compete to free services offered by Copernicus, whereas our advantage is that we can offer tailored and validated services with a higher resolution and more parameters. If we compete into commercial fluoroprobes that are put in situ, so in the in the water, our advantage is that we require less maintenance and we have more higher frequency. For water sampling, we also have higher frequency. We can offer the big picture. Okay, let's skip the business com. So we sell and release instruments. We have a subscription model. We do consultancy. We have a growth to market strategy, which I can go quickly. We have our roadmap where for next year we plan to have an investment to scale up basically and acquire growth. We are looking for an initial investment of 1.2 million as an early stage. We never had any funding rounds before, and the use of the funds will be to realize our roadmap. And we see that in 5 years, we envisage a exit due to a merger or acquisition. We have a highly skilled teams with all the technical abilities at this moment, and we need a marketing person we want to add a marketing person when we have the funds for that. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Now I open the floor for questions.
I would have a question. On one slide, you said that you are spin-off at 2005, and
Yes.
then there's a gap of nothing during 15 years. So what happened between?
We started as purely 100% R&D company. So for the best of 10 years, we solely participated in H2020 and a predecessor like FP7 projects and national research projects, where we developed all the technology that we put into the instruments and our satellite services as we offer them now.
Thank you. Are there any other questions?
Hi, Marnix. Could you say something about the value chain, how you commercialize technology, who are your customers, and how do you get to them?
Very good question. Thank you. So our customers are, we have different market segments. So most of our customers at the moment, we identify them as scientific customers. Most of them are people we already know from all our R&D activities. They are very impressed with the instrument and the services that they saw in projects, and they would like to continue on a commercial basis. We see the water management segment as our biggest market at the moment, and then you have to think of water managers in any level. So bathing water, drinking water, agencies that have to comply to the Water Framework Directive in Europe and other directives in abroad. Those are our customers.
Thank you.
Thank you. There's a question from Florian.
Hi, Manix. Thank you for that. Besides those existing approaches that you mentioned, do you see any emerging competitors coming up with new solutions that could be threatening to you?
The use of spectrometers to measure water quality is already invented somewhere in the 1990s. So that is well documented in the scientific realm. However, what we do is we offer a complete solution. So we have the instrument, we have a cloud server solution where all the calculations take place, where also all the quality assurance take place. So remember, we have 10 years of experience in these type of measurements. To date, we don't have a direct competitor that is also offering these kind of optical measurements. For the satellite services, there is more competition. However, again, our experience and knowledge to offer very tailored and locally validated services is still our competitive edge.
Thank you very much. There's time for a very quick question. Okay, thank you very much, Marie.
Oh, sorry, I had one short question.
Okay.
It's a quick one. Can you say something about addressable market size?
The market size in total for all water quality measurements is something about 4.7 billion a year worldwide. And of course, not all of these water quality measurements can be done in our way. We think that somewhere maximum of 10% of those, that figure can be replaced with our type of measurements in the end.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Martin,
Thank you.
for presenting.
Okay.
And now I would like to give the floor to our next presenter. This is Christoph from Local Ocean.
Yeah, I'm here sharing my screen.
Okay.
Are we good?
We don't see it yet. Would you please try again?
Okay. Share screen, and I share my screen, and I share now.
We can see it. Maybe put it full screen. Yes, wonderful. You can start.
All right. So welcome to the future of shrimp farming today. Local Ocean is tackling a 45 billion a year problem, which is the shrimp farming industry worldwide, as it destroys a lot of the natural ecosystem. You see behind the slide what was a mangrove before and what's now shrimp farm. And it's all over Asia and with over 10,000 farms worldwide. And for European consumer, well, the shrimps you eat are always frozen and coming from cargo ships, and you don't really know what you eat. So the solution is to bring shrimp aquaculture indoor using technology and bringing it to our shores in Europe. So what we've developed is a bundle of hardware and software that we are going to IP protect over the course of 2022 in order to be like completely patented on the hardware because it's standardized. And you have a software that centralizes all the growing and the water control management. So the hardware is proprietary. We develop our own architecture for tank system and shrimp growing system. The software is also proprietary and intelligent and has a lot of AI and intelligent chemical equations in it in order to control the water parameters. And you have a lot of benefits attached to our shrimp farming technology. And the main ones are standardized yield, automation, predictability on the production, but it's also fully sustainable as we do not have any waste and any like impact on the environment. The business model, well, our clients will be able to lease or purchase the systems, and then they are going to license the software that monitors their systems. And then we're going to sell all the associated services in order to maintain and further enhance the shrimp production units. Our target audience is the aquaculture ecosystem. So salmon farms that wants to diversify and OEMs, engineers that basically build fish farms, and we are going to integrate with their existing catalogs of products and services. Well, this is us. This is our farm. We build it ourselves with our little hands. And this is a quick view of what's inside. It's 1,500 square meter. It's got 350,000 shrimps at every stages of development. And pictures of what we do and what you can eat. In terms of targets, we can basically say that we are much more production intensive than the Asians or Latin American shrimp farms, the outdoor farms, because we use technology. And in terms of productivity per square cube, per cubic meter of water is 3,000% more than what you find in the normal farm. So it's very much optimized. And this is the level we are so far, and we're still pushing the envelope in order to do more. In terms of competition, we are basically very advanced in the term of like hardware and software. Most of the other European farms are using engineers to build their farms, and the Rust farm in particular. I can come back later. I got 1 minute left. So there's 6 farm production for 6 shrimp farm in construction right now, and Europe imports 400,000 tons of shrimp. So there's a lot of space to basically build shrimp farms in Europe. The team, very complete, been with my partner in crime for 17 years doing software development, and we're still in business together. And a lot of advisors, including the CEO and co-founder of a unicorn in Lithuania. This is basically the last slide and all the time I have left, but we're already selling shrimps in the retail supermarkets in Lithuania, and we invested over 1.5 million of our own money in 4 years. So thank you very much. We're asking for 1.5 million for 15% of the business right now in order to further develop the company, package it, and be ready to sell. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Christophe, for your presentation. Now I open the floor for questions. Who would like to go first?
Thank you very much, Christophe. Renato here. Hi. Sorry if I didn't get it. But what does the shrimp farmer do with the data that you produce? So what does the farmer actually do after receiving information on water probes and the biomass sensors and so on?
Well, basically, the farmers will go to the tank he wants to basically check out. He's going to scan a barcode. The barcode is going to link to his companion tablet. The companion tablet then is going to give him like the dashboard of the water parameter, the estimated biomass of shrimps in there in the growth stage. And he's going to tell him exactly what to do in terms of what sort of minerals he needs to add in order to compensate what's going on in the tank at the T instant, and in order to keep the water in tip-top condition. Is also going to give him the protocol of the feeding for the day. So it doesn't require a PhD in marine aquaculture in order to manage the shrimp farm. It's all done via the companion's tablet. So you can become a shrimp farmer yourself if you want to.
Thank you. You have a question also for Maya?
Yeah, there's a lot of companies developing all these RAS systems in aquaculture. Can you kind of explain what's the difference between your system and various available RAS systems for different, kind of aquaculture?
Yes. So RAS system is clear water system, okay? It's like over-filtrated, and it's very, very efficient for fish farming, especially salmon, because they live in the ocean, and the ocean is supposed to be clear. The shrimps, they grow in estuaries and murky waters. So the RAS farm, although you can grow shrimps in RAS farm, we think that it's not the natural element. And the outdoor aquaculture right now, this is what they use. They use bioflux system, and they use like estuary waters in order to grow shrimps. So we are putting the natural environment indoor. The difference between our system and the RAS system is basically it also costs 10 times less in terms of capex to build the farm, and costs 5 times less, at least in energy costs, to run the show.
Okay, thanks.
I have a question. Christophe, could you tell us more about the possible fallout of the shrimps by illnesses or diseases? What are the risks?
The risk is always like vibriosis, and you pretty much know, and we have experienced it in the past because we've done 4 years of R&D and we had those. So our systems are basically standalone, and self-standing as well. And all the shrimps, they grow like in small batches rather than large batches. So basically a system can produce about 140 kilos per month of shrimps. And so using small batches, small quantity of water, we are also isolating each water from one another. So one shrimp batch grows in one water that is never mixed with the other guys' water. So should an episode of vibriosis happen, and it's always gonna happen at some point, it's only that batch that is going to be basically discarded. We have a few ways to remedy or slow down the progression of vibriosis, but there is no actually medicines for it, and our system doesn't use any like phyto medicines and antibiotics. It's all natural, and we don't want to use any of those. So we are pretty much on the stable conditions right now. They don't develop vibriosis, which is the main point. And in terms of early mortality syndromes and others, all our baby shrimps are specific pathogen free, so they're okay, and they're indoors, so they're not touched by the outside environment that can basically colonize some of the diseases, like with like bird shit, for example, in the outdoor environment. We don't have those.
Thank you. We have a question also from Katarzyna.
Yes, thank you for your presentation. I was just wondering if this system is suitable only for shrimps or also for other seafood.
I basically didn't hear the question, sorry.
Okay, I will repeat it. I was wondering if this system is suitable only for shrimps or also for other seafood.
Well, we spent 4 years doing it for shrimps, and it caused us enough problems. So we've only tried it with shrimps, but it could work with tilapia, it could work with mud crab with minimal type of changes. It has to be like hot water, and it has to be murky water, or type of environment, type of fishes, and salty water. Okay, so if you get the 3 conditions for the fish to grow, then why not try it? But shrimp is a big enough business for now.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christophe. You have a question also from Florian, but I would like to ask you to answer him here in the chat or use the one-to-one meetings, as we are out of time for questions. Thank you very much for participating. And now I would like to give the floor to our last presenting company for today. This is Monica from eFaction 8. Maybe you can unmute yourself.
Sorry, just give me 2 seconds. Yeah. And I will share the screen now. The future of manufacturing is built with biology, according to Forbes magazine from last year. And they didn't say that just because of the COVID pandemic. Of course, biomanufacturing can produce vaccines and antibodies for COVID-19, but it can also produce our food, fit for our animals, or our medicines. And despite this whole variety of the products which can be made with biomanufacturing, and whole variety of the biological cells being used for this production, such as yeast, bacteria, mammalian cells, or microalgae, the processes which people undergo to make those products are almost exactly the same. They choose the cell, they grow the cell, and then they harvest it. But it's important to mention that up to 80% of total production costs can lie in this harvesting or downstream processing stage. And that's because harvesting is a multi-stage, inefficient, and expensive process, very often combining filtration, flocculation, centrifugation, and final drying to take the product out of the liquid in which it is grown. At eFraction, we aim to exchange this inefficient chain of reactions with one piece of microfluidics-based filtration technology that make the whole process much more simple, more efficient, and gentle to the product of our customers. By doing so, we offer an exceptional value, both on CapEx and OpEx, by minimizing the installation costs and saving up to 3/4 of the energy being used for this harvesting step. And we are achieving that by harvesting the power of microfluidics. We have a patented way of parallelizing microfluidics into modules to increase the throughput through our system a little bit higher. As you can see in the stage number 2 in this slide, our single module has 750 microfluidic devices working in parallel. And then to increase the throughput through the system even higher, we put several of those modules working together, as you can see in the stage 3. The biggest instrument we've built so far, it's a 5-module system, and we are using it as a demonstrator unit for our paid pilots with our potential customers. The next step on the technology development for us is to build a fully industrial unit of 100 modules. This, when it will be fully certified, we will be bringing it to the market. We are bringing this innovative technology to the $19 billion bioseparation instrument market, with $2 billion in our direct beachhead of membranes, filters, and centrifuges, which we are aiming to exchange. We are bringing this technology to microalgae production market, which is growing at 30% CAGR, but we are also very much interested in biopharmaceutical markets and novel meat productions, such as cell culture meat production. Since we started this company in 2017, we already had an amazing traction. We have several letters of interest from our potential customers. We've delivered 8 successful demonstrations with our potential customers, generating the revenue over £50,000. On top, on the back of initial pre-seed investment in 2017 of 120,000, we've brought over 800,000 of non-dilutive funding into this company through the competition wins and grants. We are heavily supported by grant organizations such as Innovate UK or European Commission. In 2019, we've opened fully owned Polish subsidiary as a contingency plan for Brexit to allow us undisturbed access to the European market. And I'm happy to say that through that subsidiary, we've been awarded €2 million European grant to allow us to do the scale up of our technology, which I've mentioned on my technology slide. Our business model is simple. We see ourselves as a technology provider, but up to date, all our revenue came from paid pilots and joint development agreements. We see our revenue generation initially through the pilot instrument sales to our beachhead market, but we see the expansion of that through the licensing to more difficult to enter markets such as biopharma. The customers were in the core of our development since we started this company, and we're still working together with them to shape our technology in the way and with the features which exactly are required by our customers. We are Eufractionate. I'm Dr. Monika Tomecka, founder and director of Eufractionate. I have a PhD in biomedical science, which means I speak the same language that our potential customers. Dr. Brian Miller, he's professional engineer, expert in microfluidics, and he's an inventor of our technology. Across our 2 companies between UK and Poland, we have a team of 10 people full-time developing this technology as quickly and as best as we can. We are supported by great advisors, both commercial and technical, which are helping us to strategize moving forward. We are currently closing the round of €2.5 million, and I'm happy to say that all our round is already committed. We have, however, a very slight room for overfunding, so if anybody would be interested to talk to me about the round, the timeline is very short, but I'm happy to tell you a little bit more about it. Just the last few words, those money will be used for the technology development and the scale-up build, for the customer validations, protecting our IP, certifying our instrument, and expanding our team. Thank you very much for listening to me, and I'm happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Monika. Now I open the floor for questions.
I have a question. Monika, very interesting. Do you have strategic alliances or cooperations with companies in your field?
So there are several technologies. Sorry?
Yes, and could you, what is the most interesting one?
So there are several companies which are developing the technologies for the biopharmaceutical market or the biomanufacturing market in the harvesting space. However, most of those companies at the moment, they consider us as their competitors. We can talk over here about Pol Corporation, about Alfa Laval, Westphalia. All those people, despite looking at us as competition at the moment, we believe that they might actually become our licensees in the future or potential acquirers as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. I see that Mari has a question, and then I'll give the word also to Yvette.
Yeah, my question is, so what are the revenue streams look like? So are they single use? Do they have to be cleaned? And if they have to be cleaned, how do you propose to clean them? Because if you've spent some time cleaning a bioreactor after you used it, you know it's a pain to get into the nooks and crannies to, clean it from everything.
Absolutely. So it's a really good question about the cleanability. Depending on the market which we are going for, the regime for cleanings are slightly different. When we're talking about microalgae production, for example, they are cleaning protocols with bleaches or steam, which should be sufficient for that production. When we're talking about biopharma, this is very much a single use, and that's where the whole biopharma is now moving to the single-use devices. The fact that our instruments are from stainless steel, we are actually seeing the model where biopharma would use it single use, but it would give it back to us for repurposing it, in which case it's very important for us as well to be a sustainable company, to not throw it after the single use. So then we could repurpose it, reclean it, and use it for the markets which has lower regimes, such as microalgae production or waste treatment.
Thank you. Yvette, would you like to go next?
Yes, actually, the last thing triggered another question, but let me start. My original question is, can you say something about CapEx and OpEx difference towards existing incumbent technology? And I think the question you just answered, it's sort of related to that, I suppose, because that might lead to what is the business model that you would envision as a company?
Sure. So let's talk about a comparison first. So the main competitor, technology which we are looking at is centrifugation or industrial centrifugation. We are actually looking for the price matching when it comes to the sales of our instruments versus the equivalent size of the industrial centrifuge. However, if you think of buying the centrifuge into your facilities, very often around 60% of the buy is not only the instrument itself, but also the installation costs. There is a lot of steel and concrete involved to actually hold the centrifuge in place. In the case of our devices, this CapEx would not be spent because our technology does not have such a stored energy. So it does not require such a reinforcement of the foundation of the building to actually keep it in place. So this is when it comes to the saving on the CapEx. It's not on the price of the instrument, but on the installation costs mainly. When it comes to the OpEx, the savings mainly comes from the energy consumption. Again, centrifugation is a hugely energy intensive process. Our technology can save around 3/4 of the energy as compared directly to the centrifuge. Do you still want me to talk more about the business model, or what I said before would be quite sufficient?
Well, does that mean that you would be sort of doing a lease kind of model, or are you going to sell the devices? What's your view there?
So actually we see our development in 3 different stages. The R&D and technology development we actually done already. We have the technology which works. At the moment, we are at the phase 2 of our development, where we are looking for the technology scale up and commercial demonstrations. And the phase 3, we envisage to technology manufacturing and commercial distributions and sales. As you can see on my slide, there's actually a dotted line between the phase 2 and 3, and this is roughly where we see the potential for splitting the road. This is not exactly decided what's going to happen at that stage, because we would like to make sure that we will make this decision together with our investors. The possibilities are for going for a big raise, opening our own production facility and employing our own sales team and going purely for the sales of the instruments. The other possibility is going with the licensing route into the more difficult to enter markets, such as biopharma, where we believe that partnering with the companies which are already producing hardware technologies for this space, they already have the customer pools. It would be much easier to enter with our technology. There's also potential for doing those 2 routes in parallel. But again, this decision is not set in stone, and we would like to make it together with our investors where we come into the end of the phase 2.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Monica, for your participation.
Thank you.
And just a second. Dear participants, that was all for today. We hope our breakout session was interesting and useful for you. All companies will soon receive by email their evaluation results, which are anonymous, and video recording of their pitch. Now I kindly ask you to complete our feedback survey that you now see as a link in the chat. Thank you, and we also would like to remind you about the one-to-one meetings option starting today at 2 p.m. CET time and continuing 26th of November all day. You still can pre-book your one-to-one meetings via the Techtalk community platform. You can check also the video instruction that was also shared here in the chat. Thank you very much for joining us today. Have a nice day and goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.